Hey everybody, Preston Poulter here with Pocket Jacks Comics. And when I'm studying the law, I take a special interest in law stories. This one came out just today. In Canada, a judge has ruled on the facts of the case. Here are the facts. So, an indigenous woman, Native American, comes up to a white woman she does not know outside a bar. She yells, "I hate white people," and punches her in the face. This was not a trivial punch. Apparently, the victim of the assault, or legally speaking, a battery, lost a tooth. So there was a fair amount of force involved. The woman the assailant was put in jail and has served like 8 months and is now being released, to which the victim has apparently said, well, wait, doesn't this qualify as a hate crime? And let us review what a hate crime is. A hate crime has to be motivated specifically by some type of hatred for a race, a gender, and a sexual orientation, something like that. So you have to be targeting the person not because you don't like the person. You have to be targeting the person because of they represent some larger group, and you just hate that whole group more or less indiscriminately. I don't see. All right, I don't see how this case doesn't qualify. Right, the judge has the judge has come out and said, the judge has come out and said there is no evidence either way about what the offender meant or whether she holds or promotes an ideology which would explain why this assault was aimed at this victim. So the judge is now kind of putting an extra rule on hate crime that you must subscribe to an ideology. So I guess what presumably this indigenous woman would also need to have a t-shirt on that says, what would the t-shirt need to say? Right? What? How? This is all so nebulous, and you see why I don't like hate crime laws is because what does any of this mean? I guarantee you, if the situations were reversed, the judge wouldn't have a problem with it. But because the perpetrator was Native American, well, now we go on our index of intersectionality and go, she has enough oppression points to get away with being charged for battery, but not for a hate crime. I mean, come on. Like, essentially, you must stand up and say, if a Muslim made an assault and screamed out, what, Allah Akbar, well, that wouldn't be a hate crime because, or death to America, that wouldn't be a hate crime because, so what you have to specifically say, David Duke said that these people were bad, therefore, this is also nebulous. And this case just goes to show you what garbage hate crime laws are in general. I mean, look, why do we care the ideology that's in somebody's head? We care about the actions they take. In this case, the actions that this woman took was punching another woman in the face and causing her to lose her tooth. That is battery. That's been battery for hundreds of years. There's no reason to come up with some funky new definition. And even if you do, look how it's being enforced. I want somebody to come out and say that the judge made the right ruling here, because I want to hear this argument. I mean, seriously. And if you look at this and say, okay, well, the judge didn't make the right ruling, then do you not understand that this kind of stuff is going to happen, that really hate crime laws are just another way of saying, well, there are certain groups we favor and certain groups we don't, and these hate crime laws are just there to favor certain groups. And if the assailant happens to be a member of that group, well, then they get a pass because this law is really just there to protect them. Anyway, thought this was an interesting case. By the way, I have 3 days left on my campaign for White Lily, the story of the deadliest female fighter pilot in world history. It is up on Kickstarter. There's a link for that down in the description. Thank you very much for your time. Take care. Bye.